Maps for HTML community group started in 2014 as an outcome of the Bar Camp breakout at the joint W3C OGC Linking Geospatial Data workshop in Shoreditch, London. Several participants, including Google's Mano Marks, supported the creation of the group after presentations and discussions that called out the need to integrate linking of spatial data into the everyday web through the W3C, presumably. The name of our community group is important, and I want to take a few minutes to focus in on that. The mission is right there in the name. There's no intent to hide it. We seek to embed mapping and location knowledge into the web directly, not through third-party standards like those of the OGC or OGP, not to pick on them, because they have their place, and not through open source JavaScript libraries, although they are also good, but directly in the standards of the web platform, embodied in open source web browsers, and to some extent, search engines. Why? Why is implementing maps and location in the web so important? And why are third-party standards and libraries not good enough? Because third-party standards and libraries aren't well layered or user-centric, resulting in bad returns or outsized investments, or both, in location information and standards. Now, browser developers often seem to say that's more of a you problem than a me problem, and we can have that conversation. But when a situation affects everybody in the world, as problems of the web are wont to do, something must be done. That's why Natural Resources Canada has joined the W3C membership to find willing partners to help do something about it. Please get in touch if you think you can help. What it comes down to is this. Everyone uses or has a right to use a web browser and or a search engine. And so information needs to be layered so that location support is built into the web as seen by browsers and search engines. Web browsers are often referred to as implementing the web platform. This is very cool because this is a platform that's built on voluntary standards and open source software, which is amazing because the web is undeniably the beating heart of global civilization in the 21st century. For-profit competing platforms like Android and iOS may come and go, but the web platform is essentially public infrastructure, and it's here to stay. And public infrastructure serves or should serve without prejudice the public who have a right to use it, which includes everyone. As a consequence of needing to fairly serve the public, web standards must be both layered and user-centric, which are critical characteristics. The layering means that simplicity can sometimes be preserved, which in itself helps with user centricity at that layer. To focus in on the layer that gives our community its name, HTML is user-centric, not only because it defines the means to communicate text and images, also known as content, to users, but because it mixes affordances into the encoding of the content. Affordances allow applications to not only present the means of understanding and manipulating the application by diverse human users, but also extends a similar ability to web crawlers such as Google and DuckDuckGo and Bing and so on, because crawler applications allow diverse human users, among other things, to find stuff on the web, making information useful. Such machine readability is also critical for user centricity. HTML was designed for these applications and more, according to what Tim Berners-Lee called the principle of least power, which suggests that in order to be useful and have value to both human and robotic users, one's application design or architecture should encode information in the least powerful language possible. We further know from economics that the value of information is proportional to its usage. By making information impossible or hard to find, we diminish and limit its value. This idea is embodied in the SEO marketing axiom that information must be above the fold. Standardizing location information in the wrong layer and inaccessibly diminishes or eliminates the value of that information because other expenses must be incurred to compensate, and that may turn out to be impossible. Dedicated fans of the early web considered HTML simple enough for end user programming, which is why we still have view source in some web browsers today. In many cases today, however, HTML is stored or generated by content management systems, which often provide GUI interfaces to users who generate the content, thus slightly working around the end user programming model. It remains true, however, that HTML's simplicity is a keystone of the standards that make up the web platform. Recently, I was on vacation at a rented cottage near Haliburton, Ontario. One day, I heard a large cracking sound followed by a huge crash. A tree that had been weakened by age and recent heavy rains decided that it was time to bail. That is, to fall over. Because I was present, I can assure you that it made a sound. HTML is a language of defined, agreed upon semantics. Not every element in HTML is a success, but the elements that are commonly used have well-defined and implemented default semantics. HTML semantics are generally important, not only because they can be implemented by browser code, but also for users, often especially for disabled users. And location semantics, represented visually by maps and map features, are generally important for everything from search results to personal safety and everything in between. Location semantics or maps in today's web are like the sound that tree made, in that a person must be present in order to recognize them for what they are. If the person is not there, semantics don't exist. Today, at least, and semantics that don't exist can't be crawled nor indexed for search, eliminating the source's value. Thank you.